Welcome back, guys, to another NFL Nitro video. It is I, JackFet9, joined by...
James Show Jam.
Yes, sir. And it was a pretty good week in the NFL. Not for our teams, but in general, I thought that the week was honestly a pretty good week overall. A lot of interesting games, a lot of excitement, a lot of great performances overall. And, without further ado, let's get into it.
Yes, sir.
And in the first game of the week, of week 9, it was the New York Giants. Oh my god. The New York Jets beating the Houston Texans 21 points to 13. Oh, I scored. In what was a great game for the Jets overall. Finally getting that win that they have wanted. But, starting with them, Aaron Rodgers played a really nice game. Probably his best game in a while, that's for sure. 211 yards, 3 tutties. Breece Hall did his job, and most of the Jets did their job. They looked a lot better. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers had a really nice connecting for a touchdown. But all of that was kind of taken off when Garrett Wilson decided to make maybe the catch of the year. What an amazing catch it was. Looking like the Jordan logo. It was insane, and those are the types of plays that they need to be winning football games, and they did a really good job. Obviously for the Texans, CJ Stroud struggling a bit. He's kind of been up and down at times. He hasn't been lights out like he was last year. I feel like he's kind of regressed in his second season, although that's decently common, I feel like, for rookies. But yeah, it's pretty disappointing for him personally that he's kind of regressing to this. I know that he will bounce back though. Joe Mixon, he continues to cook for them though. Overall, the Texans, they gotta kind of look at themselves. I feel like yes, they are 6-3, and yes, they are first, but I mean, they've also played like a bunch of the AFC South at this point. Like, they all kind of suck. They have like the easiest division in the league, so of course they're going to be really good, and they're only just beating those teams as well. So it's not over obviously, but I feel like the Texans really got to take a deep look at themselves after this one.
And really, the Jets should have had 28 points. I forget who it was, but he dropped the ball in the 1 yard line.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy when I saw that on Twitter. I
forgot about that.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the Atlanta Falcons beating one of the most fraudulent team in all of American sports. It's the Falcons beating the Cowboys 27-21. A much needed win for the Falcons as they continue their quest to win this division. It's looking good so far with the Bucs losing this week. But it was Bijan Robinson in this game looking absolutely dominant. Had about 140 total yards. Drake London scored a TD and put out the just out of nowhere the headstand celebration. I've never seen it, and now I've seen it like 3 times in a week. And we saw Dak get hurt. Cooper Rush wasn't much worse, to be honest. A big win for the Falcons. The Cowboys just struggled to move the chains when they needed. Didn't play great up until the 4th, where they started to play better, but it was too late for them. So a nice win for the Falcons. And I'd say they have a really good chance to win this division. And the Cowboys might be in some trouble. Their season is kind of cooked. It's like the Browns.
Moving on from that, it was my Denver Broncos losing 41 points to 10 to the Baltimore Ravens. And the worst part about it is that James O'Jam, the James O'Jam, was completely right. I thought that we were going to lose, but I didn't think we were going to get bashed like that. overall, just not a great game. Derrick Henry ran all over us, had 2 TDs. I'm not sure how many yards, like probably 200. Lamar Jackson had like 300 yards, 3 TDs. And overall, what was not a great game, but you know, the one bright spot, or the two bright spots, I guess, that happened was that Cortland Sutton cooked, and that Bo Nix, as it turns out, might be our wide receiver one. You know, if mossing Marcus Williams, their safety, I'm pretty sure. I mean, as much as people give him crap, he's doing a lot for us. I mean, he was the only one that got us a touchdown, and then he got out, and we just he left the game. I'm not completely sure why, but came back, and the game was like completely over by the time he did manage to come back in. Obviously a great win for the Ravens, and for us, we get to look forward to the Chiefs, so get happy, everyone. And yeah, I mean, it definitely ain't over. I still have a lot of hope for this team.
Next up, we have one of the games of the week between the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills, with the Bills edging it out 30-27 off the back of a game-winning field goal by Tyler Bass. He's actually struggled this year, but he went out and iced the 61-yard field goal for the win. I'll start with the Dolphins. I thought it was a really solid game. Looked a lot like they looked last year, or even early this season. It's a shame how they've gone without Tua, because, it's ruined their season, but they looked really good. Tyreek was getting a lot more of the ball than we've seen in recent weeks. Jalen Waddle also got injured in this game, came back and scored a touchdown. He failed to get involved throughout most of it, but he made the big play at the end, almost helping them pull it off. I thought Dolphins, it was nice to see Tua cooking. He cooked last week as well. And he's looking... There's a much better team with Tua under center. But for the Bills, just give Josh Allen the MVP. I'm gonna stay on this train until the end of the season. He should be the MVP. He put up 235 yards, 3 TDs and 1 pick in the air, all without Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper, okay. Amari Cooper in the big 2024.
Amari Cooper's their best receiver, so that says a lot about who he had. Yes. Anyway,
right.
But he's getting it done no matter who's out there, is what I'm trying to say. And I think he, as of right now, is my MVP. But I expect that to continue as well, with how the Bills are going. Nice win for the Bills, though.
But moving on, I was pretty sad last game, obviously. Things happen. But I'm pretty happy with this one. As I predicted, the Carolina Panthers end up beating the New Orleans Saints 23-22 in straight up a game that New Orleans should not have lost. They completely got way more yards. I think they had 150 more yards than the Panthers, had won the turnover battle, and still lost. Only team to do that, I think, ever, by the way. Derek Carr, in his return, he played decently, 18 for 31, 236 yards, and a touchdown isn't bad. But obviously, a lot of the controversy is the fact that he may or may not have gotten Chris Olave concussed once again, and it appears that Michael Thomas and guys like that definitely think that he gets people concussed. Obviously, it's football; things are gonna happen. It's just it's a lot of interesting things. I think Saints fans are done with this though. Like, they've lost 7 straight now. They were 2-0, undefeated, one of the best teams in 2 weeks. I mean, it was only 2 weeks of football, but they were like the best team, and they've just completely fallen apart, and Saints fans are sick of it. Alvin Kamara continues to be pretty good this season though. 29 carries for 155 yards is a nice game overall, plus 60 receiving yards. He did a lot for them, but still couldn't get it done. But moving on to the winner's side of the ball, it was Bryce Young doing enough to win. 171 yards, 1 touchdown, did have an interception. Chuba Hubbard had 2 touchdowns, so he played pretty decently. Yeah, I don't know how Carolina won this. I'm not even gonna lie, but a win's a win. Should they have won? I don't know. Maybe not. But it feels good for Bryce Young, and maybe Bryce Young can keep continuing to kind of grow. He can. Maybe he won't be a CJ Stroud or anything like that, but I still believe in him, and I think that he can play at a decent level. All he needs is confidence, and wins like this will definitely give him more confidence, that's for sure.
The next game is the LA Chargers destroying my Cleveland Browns 27-10, and our only touchdown came in the last minute against backups. At this point, this is the first time in years, to be honest, as a Browns fan, where I'm like, I need the draft to be here. I just want this season to end. It's a season from hell. Jameis Winston, after lighting up last week, threw 3 interceptions this week. To be honest, I didn't expect much more of him. I know he had a great week last week, but we're the Browns, I did really like Cedric Tillman, though. My fault. He put up like 6 catches, about 80 yards and a TD. He's really looking nice recently, and he's one of the few bright spots on that whole offense. Myles Garrett had 3 sacks as well.
What is happening?
He's a DPOY for a reason.
He plays for the Browns.
Yeah,
he
does.
It's so sad.
But for the Chargers, though, J.K. Dobbins had another nice game, averaging over 6 yards per carry with about 80 yards, 2 touchdowns on this defense. Our defense didn't look terrible, but damn, Justin Herbert looked good. He looked like, how he looked a couple of seasons ago. He was torching us, 280 yards, 2 TDs. But it was more than the stats. And we still have a great defense. He was cooking us. Disappointing loss, but I'm not. Honestly, I'm kind of glad we lost. We need to make sure we have a high enough pick to draft Cam Ward or anyone. Just get a top pick, please. Our season's over. Go win Chargers. They low-key have a sneaky chance to make a wildcard game.
I would think that they would. They've got a good enough roster for sure.
Yeah, over the Broncos. I mean, they
beat us.
There's about like 10 teams in the AFC I think could make it. So we'll see if they make it. But
that's true, and it's not y'all. Moving on from that, it was yet another AFC North versus AFC West battle. This time going in the way of the North. It was the Bengals completely bullying the Las Vegas Raiders, 41 points to 24. And oh boy, am I happy to see those Raiders get cooked. Felt very good. Starting with their side of the ball, their quarterbacks, they're nothing special. Gardner Minshew played okay. Did he get pulled again or did he get injured? I don't know.
I think he got injured
at this point. Desmond Ridder did come in and throw a touchdown. Maybe there's something there. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna tell you now, there is nothing there.
I'm having a little bit of optimism for complete nothingness. But yeah, they just aren't good, Who knew? The Raiders suck. Moving on from them, the Bengals. Joe Burrow had an awesome game, 251 yards, 5 touchdowns, did have a pick, but 5 touchdowns, you'll take it. Chase Brown, of all people, had over 100 yards on the ground as well. Mike Gesicki went off for like a career day as well. Had 5 receptions, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. What is this? 2021. Why is Mike Gesicki cooking? Of all people. But yeah, a great day for the Bengals, and they go to 4-5. very much, from a really dull start of the year, they're right in this AFC, you know, this AFC conference, I guess. And yeah, I mean, they've definitely got the talent to do it, and they just needed to put it together. And I feel like with these performances, week in, week out, they can definitely do that for sure. So great win for the Bengals, showing why maybe the AFC North is still better, is still the best division in the AFC.
The next game, a divisional matchup. Your lock of the week, Washington Commanders, sneaking it out against the Giants, 27-22. In a game, it wasn't actually that crazy though. I thought what Jaden Daniels did was great. He had some great throws. The stats went crazy: 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the film, I mean, some of the throws, straight, perfect passes. So I thought he looked great. I was happy to see Terry McLaurin get 2 touchdowns. He only had 2 catches, but both of them were to the end zone. So Washington, their offense, we know what they're going to bring. They just keep getting it done. Jaden Daniels is running away with Rookie of the Year. For the Giants, though, we saw Daniel Jones. His first half, he was struggling, but got it going a bit in the second half. He actually scored his first touchdown at home in over 600 days. Crazy stat. For the Giants, their rushing attack was really nice. As a team, they had 140 yards in the first half. It did slow down a lot in the second half, but it was nice to see. Their run game has been the best part of that offense for sure. Tyrone Tracy's been really nice this season. He had a solid game. We know Daniel Jones can run it a bit. So, nice win for Washington though. Nothing crazy.
But moving on, it was the nail-biting game, if you will, of the Tennessee Titans and the Patriots. Tennessee taking it out 20 points to 17 in overtime in what was, well, overall not an amazing game. The Titans were doing good enough to keep the Patriots out, but Drake May, I should say, he was struggling to start the game. He had 2 picks, I'm pretty sure. Had about 200 yards, but wasn't playing all that amazingly. But he started. I don't even know how to explain it. What happened on the last play of the game? Patriots down 7, and he turns into prime Lamar Jackson, Mike Vick, Kyler Murray,
Deshaun Watson,
and damn near anyone else you want to put up there. Yeah, you can put Deshaun as well. All combined into one as he broke like 5 tackles and threw a Hail Mary, or not a Hail Mary, just a effort ball. Effort, he's down there somewhere ball. And one of the Patriots players came down with it. An absolutely insane play by the rookie. But unfortunately all of that got done by the fact that the Titans ended up winning anyways.
Yeah.
But for the Titans, Mason Rudolph played pretty well. 20 completions, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a solid game from the veteran. It's not a very special game. I think the whole thought with this game was that it was going to be pretty 50-50. I mean, it was definitely for us. I went the Patriots and you went the Titans, and overall I think they played like that. No one was really much better than the other team, and overall it just wasn't an amazing contest, as they're both rebuilding teams, obviously.
The next game was actually a surprise blowout. It was the Arizona Cardinals winning 29-9 against the Chicago Bears. And the Cardinals are playing really well. They might actually win the division. I think they've won like 4 of the last 5 games. They've been playing amazingly. For the Cardinals, it was a running game. They had 213 team rushing yards by the end of the game. The Bears couldn't stop it. And the Bears have a great defense, so it was a little surprising to see. For Chicago, though, Caleb Williams didn't have the best game. he struggled to really find anyone except for Rome Odunze. Odunze did end up putting over 100 yards, so you'd like to see that, but aside from him, it was rough out there. Especially considering that they had practically no run game, averaged 3 yards per carry for the team. It was rough for the Bears on both ends of the football.
For sure.
After that demoralizing loss as well last week against Washington, they might be in some trouble, but in the end, this season isn't the most important. Caleb Williams is a rookie and they're just focused on developing him. I'm really hoping the Cardinals win their division though. They were a team that I'm rooting for sure.
Also, I would just like to add, I believe the Chicago Bears coach has not ever won a away playoff, or not an away, just an away game in general for them.
That's crazy.
In his tenure. So, I hear that, Bears fans are pretty pissed off with him right now. As they should be. They should be winning these games. But yeah. But moving on from that, it was, you said a surprising game. That last game was surprising. Well, this game was also pretty surprising, as it was a surprisingly close game.
Not for me.
Probably not for me either, to be honest. But it was the Philadelphia Eagles beating the Jacksonville Jags 28 points to 23 in, well, what was, to start the game, dominant fashion for the Eagles. They were absolutely dominating the Jags. I believe they went up 22-0 on them. But with some, great work by Saquon Barkley. In case you haven't seen that one play, I mean, I couldn't even. Crazy. I don't know what Drake May was doing. I can't even begin to explain what Saquon was doing. Out here hurdling people backwards and spin moving. I think he did 2 spin moves and a backwards hurdle. I don't know how that's possible. Great game by him, obviously. Jalen Hurts is absolutely firing. But kind of getting back to the recap of the game. Yeah, they were up 22-0. They were dominating, but it started turning around where Trevor Lawrence scores a rushing touchdown, and the Jags kind of look alive, and then they score again through Trevon Walker. I believe it was a fumble by Saquon Barkley, who ended up getting returned. I do believe the Eagles did score again though, and that kind of sealed it. But overall, the Jags, they keep fighting for sure. It's not like, I feel like they're not as bad as, the Browns or.
Okay. We beat them.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're as bad as the Browns or, like they're competitive for sure. They'll compete with most teams, I feel like, just randomly. Trevor Lawrence has been playing a lot better since practically that Bills game, to be honest. He's been a lot better personally. His team around him's just kind of failed him. Overall, for the Eagles, it's a good win for them as they try and keep up with the Commanders.
I so wanted to be right in that game. The next game, another divisional matchup, a pretty important one, is arguably the best team in the league. Some may say the Detroit Lions pulling it out against the Green Bay Packers, 24-14. The Lions defense looked really good. We saw Brian Branch did get ejected for a hit on Bo Melton, but we did see Jordan Love throw yet another interception in this game. It was actually returned to the house by Kirby Joseph. It's becoming a bit of a problem. Every week we go by, and the Packers fans are just hoping he can be clean with the football, but another big interception thrown in this game. It's looking kind of rough for Jordan Love fans right now. He's a great quarterback, but he has to figure out, we see that a lot with the young quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson. Like Anthony Richardson's the main one though. Even with Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. If you want to be like
Josh Allen,
one of the best teams in the league, you gotta be able to hold on to the football. And interceptions hurt a lot, so I'm sure I hope at least that he'll figure it out. Lions offensively though, they got it done. Their team just looked really nice. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a nice game. David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, sharing that backfield, both looked really good as well. And they managed to pull it out against the Packers just out of the talent. I'm really starting to believe you about them being the best team in the league. I'm hoping that they can dethrone the Chiefs, because I'd love to see it, to be honest.
For sure. But moving on, it's funny you bring up Matthew Stafford because it was his Rams taking on the Seahawks in your game of the week, I believe it was.
Yep, let me cook.
And you know what? You might have been right, because it was a really good game. The final score being 26 points to 20. Rams beating Seahawks in overtime. I mean, it was just an overall good game to watch. Starting on the Seahawks side of the football, the home team, Geno Smith, he did okay. He threw for 3 touchdowns, but also threw for 3 interceptions. And I mean, I feel like there was a point where I said he was one of the best QBs in the league. He's definitely not, though. He's been alright, but he's definitely not been amazing. And I mean, you keep talking about Jordan Love be throwing picks. He likes to throw picks too.
Yeah. He loves it.
No, but obviously pretty disappointing for the Seahawks. I mean, this is a divisional matchup. I kind of expected them to probably lose these type of games. I do believe I picked the Rams. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, the Rams on the day were just better, obviously. I guess moving on to them, moving on to them, Matthew Stafford played a little bit better, had 2 passing touchdowns, did have an interception as well. But, I mean, Kyron Williams did his job. Cooper Kupp went for 100 yards. And the main man, DeMarcus Robinson, going for 6 catches, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those ended up being in overtime, a beautiful one-handed catch to beat the Seahawks defender. And yeah, what was a great game, in what is an interesting NFC West. I mean, as of right now, I think you may or may not have mentioned it, but Arizona are in the lead of the division. But basically every team is like right there.
Yep.
And yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, for sure.
The next game? Not an incredible game. It was the Minnesota Vikings managing to, pull it out just barely against a Colts team that didn't even play that well. Joe Flacco, I'll start with him, former Browns QB. He didn't have the best performance. The Vikings defense is amazing though. He put up 180 yards, 1 pick. Personally, I feel like Anthony Richardson should be playing. The Colts clearly aren't competing for anything at this point in the season. I don't know why you don't, let him get more experience at least. Joe Flacco's not going to be there beyond this season or next season at least. Jonathan Taylor also struggled. 48 yards on 13 carries. I hate, yards per carry tells a lot, and it also tells a lot about how good a defense is. Vikings defense was cooking. For the Vikings, Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns, continues, his pretty good form, but he did have a bit of an issue turning the ball over. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. He had a good completion percentage, but 2 interceptions, 1 fumble isn't going to get it done. Turnovers matter a lot in this league. But against good teams, the Colts suck. They're trying to compete for a Super Bowl though, so it ain't gonna get done when games start to matter more against, the Lions or the Packers. The Packers might throw just as many interceptions though. So. Jay Jetter's also cooked.
That's true.
Put up like 140 yards receiving, had a completion for like 22 yards. Nice game for Jay Jetters, proving he is one of the best receivers in the NFL game.
I just wanted to come back to that Joe Flacco point. Am I the only one that I feel like it was kind of the right move? I feel like Joe Flacco, putting him in over AR, was the right move at that point. Because I don't know about you, but I don't give a damn how that team had been playing with AR starting. They could 100% have turned it around. We've seen it time and time again from
I
teams
disagree.
who come from nothing, and it's only them. You're talking about how they got nothing to play for. It's the mid-season mark. I mean,
I still
they
disagree.
got a lot of time. I mean,
If we're-
obviously, in hindsight, like now, it seems like it's a terrible decision. But at the time, I think
even if
I
he
would
was
have
playing
supported it.
like the Browns, Joe Flacco for the last couple of weeks of the season, I still don't think it was the right decision. If we're keeping it real, if they're, the GM, the coaches need to look in a mirror. They're not a good enough team to. They're not even competing for their own division in a struggling division. I don't think it matters. I don't think Joe Flacco should be at it. I really don't. I like Joe Flacco, but it's just I hate watching young quarterbacks get benched. I feel like it just hurts their confidence sometimes, man. I don't know.
Well, it didn't hurt Bryce Young. That's all I'll say. Bryce Young needed it, I think.
I think the problem, in my opinion, is just throwing them into the fire so early. I'd rather them, had
That's true.
Flacco his rookie season, and then Flacco can start early, and then Richardson can transition in when he's ready. That's my belief, though. But yeah, shout out Joe Flacco.
But moving on from that, talk, I guess. Stop killing us.
Discussion.
I forgot what that debate. It
That
was
argument.
to the next game. Okay. Then it was the final game of the season. It was the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Buccaneers 30 points to 24 in overtime. In what was overall actually a pretty decent game. The Bucks, I'll start with them. They played really well overall. I mean, the Chiefs have had such a great defense, and to go in and put up 24 without your like 2-star receivers is pretty good overall. They played really well, and I think credit where credit's due with some of their offensive coaching. It's been really good this year. Baker Mayfield, he played a really sound game, had 200 yards, two tutties. That's a really nice game for him. Yeah, overall the Bucks, they did really well, and it makes you wonder maybe if they did have Chris Godwin or Mike Evans, or hell, even both of them, could they have beat the Chiefs? I definitely think they could have. I'm pretty sure in my predictions, I did say that team would have beat this Chiefs team, and maybe I would have been right. Honestly, who knows? But moving on from that, Patrick Mahomes, on the Chiefs side of the ball, he played probably by far his best game. Threw for nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a really nice game. Travis Kelce was cooking, had 100 yards on 14 catches. But a lot of the news was DeAndre Hopkins, who got traded, and he balled out. He had 86 yards, 2 tutties, a really nice game for him. And F the Titans, man. I'm sick of this. The Chiefs really just got a wide receiver 1 for a bag of peanuts, and it's so stupid. The Titans just suck. I hope the organization burns and crumbles completely. It sucks. But moving on from that little tangent, Kareem Hunt had a really nice game, 27 carries for 106 yards, a tutty. Really nice game for him. I believe the touchdown was in overtime.
Yep.
And the Chiefs just keep getting it done, for sure. They're playing better, I feel like, than they did, but the results still stay the same. They still keep winning. Who knows who'll top them off? That's it for that. Comment down on how you did. As
let me wait for
on the screen right now how we did.
Alright, let's talk about it. You went 12-3 this week. I think your best week. Yeah. I think your best week of predictions, 12 and
Damn!
3.
I cooked. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you
I'm
had some
him.
great
Oh
picks.
no. Oh no.
You were wrong on the
Oh no.
Texans, the Patriots, and Ravens. So nothing crazy.
Oh no.
No, not the Ravens. Sorry, the Browns. Yeah,
Nice.
comment down below how y'all did.
Well then, what do you want to talk about? Frick.
Go Cavaliers, 8-0 at the time of recording. Just wanted to quickly shout them out because we're the best team in the NBA as of today. So, thought that was pretty cool.
You know, as of today, shout out to the Nicola Ronto Raptors getting owned by the Nuggets again. You know, we're just so amazing, obviously.
The first game is Cincinnati, the Bengals, going into Baltimore in what should be a really good game. You know, these two teams hate each other. In this game, I'm gonna have to go the Ravens though. They've looked really nice. Bengals have been cooking as well. I think this will be a bit of a shootout from the offenses, from the both, you know, dominating offenses. Joe Burrow looked really good. But I think the Ravens just have enough to pull it out. That run game is going to be tiring down that struggling Cincinnati defense. And I think they're going to be able to just get it done late in the game in a high-scoring victory for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you know, after careful consideration, I think that this will be my game of the week. I could see this being honestly absolutely trash now thinking about it, but I could also see this being the most insane offensive performance of a lifetime, you know. I mean, yeah, two offensive teams, offensive-minded teams. But going on what you were saying, I do see the Ravens pulling it out. At this point, the Ravens, I feel like, have just locked in after that Browns L. If they destroyed our defense, which is great for the whole year, then I don't see why they can't absolutely destroy. But moving on to the next game, it is the New York Giants taking on the Carolina Panthers in Carolina, and unfortunately for Bryce Young and the Panthers, I think I'm gonna have to go to the Giants. You know, I love that pick last week. It was my pick of the freaking century, but I mean, it's still the Panthers, and I do feel like the Giants have at least a little bit more talent than what the Saints did for sure. And I mean, the Giants, they've been competitive, no matter who they played. They've been in games, and I think that they can definitely win this one.
You heard me groan a little at the when you made your pick because I was hoping we'd be different, but I also have the Giants here. I think when it's two bad teams battling, you're just looking for anything that could, you know, really be the X factor in a win. And for the Giants, I think it'll be Tyrone Tracy. I think he could be in for a big game against a pretty bad Panthers defense and the Panthers team. I think they might just struggle to keep up. It's not going to be no crazy high scoring game, but I think it'll be like 17-14, you know, Giants pull it out.
I mean, if you want to talk about X Factor, you should be talking about that Giants D-line, which is crazy.
That's true.
And they're probably going to completely destroy whatever that Carolina Panthers offensive line is.
The next game is the New England Patriots going into Chicago. Chicago coming off of back-to-back losses. I'm going to go Chicago here. I think they're poised for a bounce back. They've got a lot of talent. The Patriots haven't been amazing this year. And yeah, I think the Bears are just going to be able to get it done. In this one, I see it being an actual really good game though. You know, Drake May against Caleb Williams is a nice little storyline. But I've got to go with the better team, and Caleb Williams for sure has a lot more talent around him than Drake May does. So give me the Bears.
I mean, yeah, it's the story of two tales, you know, the first pick versus the third pick. The third pick is actually going into a worse situation. But I mean, Caleb Williams, the first pick, has kind of been underperforming, I feel like, for how much talent he actually has. But I'm still going to take him, obviously. The Patriots just don't really have anything, and, you know, I did mention, I don't know if it made the cut, well, it would have, but I did mention earlier that their head coach has never won an away game, I'm pretty sure, and, you know, this one is at home, so for those reasons, give me the Bears as well. And I don't think that this will be close, to be honest. I mean, it could be, but I think it comes down to how well the Bears play overall. Oh yeah, right, it's me.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
The next game is the Buffalo Bills taking on the Colts in Indianapolis, in what is gonna be a pretty good game for the Bills. I believe the Bills should go out and destroy the Colts. You know, the Colts are under quite a lot of pressure. One of the most pressured teams in the league, for sure. I assume that Joe Flacco is still starting for them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The Bills are firing up. You know, so certain people think that he's the MVP, and you know, I'm not gonna say that they're wrong or anything. You know, they might be right. He might be the MVP. He's definitely cooking this year, and the Bills can for sure. I think that they can definitely pull this one out, for sure.
Yeah, obviously I agree. You know, being a pretty big Bills guy this season, they've looked pretty good, really good recently at least. Josh Allen, specifically their offense has been really nice. Josh Allen's getting it done. You know, whoever's out there, and I don't see the Colts being much of a problem. The next game is Minnesota going into Jacksonville. I'm just gonna stick with my head and go the Minnesota Vikings here. I do think that the Jags they had a close game. Their defense has been pretty good last week it was. But the Vikings offense is just high powered, do turn it over a bit, but I don't think it's going to be a massive problem. Especially when Trevor Lawrence is going to be giving it right back to Sam Darnold. So I'm going to take the Vikings, one of the best teams in the NFL this year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, it's kind of funny that we're struggling to even think about if the Vikings can beat the Jags, but I mean, the Jags have been playing really well. The Jags, they've been really good as of recently. But I think, as I mentioned earlier, T-Law's team has kind of failed him a little bit. They drop a lot of touchdowns, and overall, just as a unit, don't really play as well as I feel like he's been playing. And I mean, it's a team sport at the end of the day, and they haven't been playing as well. And for those reasons, I think that the Vikings can win, although I'm kind of in the same boat as you. They're not really playing as well as they have been over the last few weeks, but they've been managing to get the job done, and that's all they've got to do, I think, at this point. They can still have a high-powered offense, but I mean, when Sam Darnold is throwing all these turnovers, it is interesting. But moving on, it is kind of an interesting matchup, honestly. It is the undefeated Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos, my Denver Broncos, an AFC West matchup. And I'm gonna say, obviously, I'm gonna go the Chiefs. You know, as much as I still love my team, you know, I just don't know if they can beat the Chiefs at home. That being said, if this was at Mile High, I would 100% pick the Broncos. I think the Broncos would win, but for the sole purpose and sole reason that this was at Kansas City, I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that. I do think it'll be a close game though. Like it always is, like, with us and Chiefs. Like we always, I feel like, play a lot better when it comes to playing the Chiefs.
Yep.
And I see that trend continuing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick the Chiefs as well here. I like what your take about what it would be in a Mile High, but the Chiefs have been pulling out every week they've had like one total game this year that hasn't been a one-score victory, but they've been getting it done. I think it'll be another one of those situations, close game. Maybe something will happen with the referees that might be a little controversial. It'll probably get, overblown a bit because of the media, but something's going to happen late in the game, and it's going to help the Chiefs, and they're going to pull out a victory against this Broncos team.
Yeah.
But this is the Falcons probably about to blow out the Saints with how they've been playing. No Olave either. This is my lock of the week, is the Atlanta Falcons to get it done in this divisional matchup. I'm pretty confident with that pick, because I'm really confident. That's why it's a lock. The Falcons have been balling. They're winning the division. They're running away with it after the Buccaneers lost. And Buccaneers back-to-back losses, because they also beat the Buccaneers just a week ago. And they've been playing really well. Their run game, Bijan was dominant last week. I think he'll have another great performance. And I think that'll be enough to beat the struggling Saints, who just can't get much to go on either side of the ball anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I mean, you lose to the Panthers. That's all I'm gonna say. You lost to the Carolina Panthers, and you don't get my respect. All I'm saying is, I like to point out, in my preseason predictions, I had them at 2-15, and that's still a possibility. They're playing exactly like it. I might be the biggest ball knower ever. I'm not even gonna.
You also picked the Jets to make the playoffs and win the division.
That still could happen. Moving on from that, it is actually quite an interesting matchup, I feel like. The 49ers taking on the Buccaneers. This could be game of the week potential, for sure. But I already put my game of the week. I think I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers, because I liked them when, they've played, obviously. I think that their coaches still have a lot to learn, from the game against the Chiefs, where they should or should not have gone for that 2-point. They definitely should have gone for the 2-point try at the end of the game. And I think that they can take a lot out of that, and the Bucs at home are pretty decent overall. So give me the Bucs to win, I guess.
This is gonna be our first disagreement of the predictions, because
Damn.
it is in Tampa, which has me a little worried, but San Francisco's a great team. Coming off a bye, I think that'll help them a lot. Tampa without, their two main options, it's rough in Tampa. I could see this being a really good game, but I'm going to take the Niners just because it's still a great team. They have a lot of talent. I know they haven't looked amazing this year, but I still believe that they are really nice. Underrated. Not underrated. A really nice team.
Yeah,
It's got to be the Chargers. Well, speaking of game of the week, we're getting into my game of the week here. Between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders, I think this could be a really gritty, fun game. In a game where I see Pittsburgh managing to pull it out and go 7-2. As much as I hate to pick the Steelers, they've looked really nice this season, and I think this could be a really close game, as I said, and it could go either way. But I'm gonna have to, in those tight games, who do I trust more? A rookie quarterback, and a young Commanders team, or the more experienced, Russell Wilson and Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm gonna go the Steelers to pull it out.
If I've learned one thing over the course of this year, it's never to doubt Jaden Daniels. And for that reason, in Washington as well, which has become a fortress over this year, I'm gonna take the Washington Commanders to beat Pittsburgh. It is a very interesting matchup though. Like Pittsburgh, I feel like on their day they're really they can be good offensively, but overall we have also seen them struggle offensively. Um, but then again, the Commanders' defense isn't the most amazing. Um, and the Steelers' defense could completely lock up the Commanders, but I do see Jaden Daniels managing to squeak out a victory over Russell Wilson and the Steelers. Moving on from that game, it is my lock of the week. I think that the Chargers can beat the Titans. Obviously, the Titans got a nice win against the Patriots last week. I just don't see that going again. I mean, they just aren't very good, and I think that the Chargers, I really liked what they did, what they were doing. Um, they're definitely finding their way. I think that their coaching's great. They're a greatly coached team. They're great at a lot of the levels of football that you need to be. You know, their players are doing their roles. They're kind of building from the ground, from the trenches, which is really good. And for that reason, I just think that they can beat the rebuilding Titans.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points there. I'm gonna take the Chargers as well. You know, I just saw the Chargers. Their defense locked up the Browns. Nothing crazy though. The Browns offense kind of sucks. But more impressive was Justin Herbert. He looked amazing against the Browns. I think he could. He's also had a good last couple of weeks. I think he's going to continue that against a pretty. The Titans defense is actually really good this season, but I don't think they're going to be able to. The defense can only do so much if the offense can't. When the offense can't do anything, and the offense is turning the ball over, giving opposition the ball in bad spots. So I'm going to have to go with the Chargers here. And the next game is the New York Jets in Arizona against the Cardinals. The Jets are coming off a great win against the Texans. However, I am going to have to go with the Cardinals. Cardinals have been playing incredibly red hot. One of the hottest teams in the league. And I think they're going to be able to continue that at home as well. I think that's a big factor in this game. And again, that's probably going to be pretty close. I think just Cardinals offense will be able to get it done. Mainly, I think Kyler Murray will have a nice game against that Jets team. I think this is going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I actually do see this being a good game as well. But obviously, I'm a Jets believer, and the Jets, for the first time in like weeks, they actually looked like a really solid team. And I think that they can continue that for sure. Like, A-Rod, you know, and that A-Rod to Devontae Adams connection is definitely growing. Garrett Wilson as well. They have just so many threats on offense and defense. And I don't know, I just think that the Jets can get it done. Obviously, Arizona, I feel like when they're red hot, they're one of the best in the league. But I feel like, you know, with some of the points with the Colts over the last few weeks about how young of a team they've been, you know, the Cardinals are the exact same, where they're just a young team that isn't amazingly filled with talent, and for that reason, I think that the Jets can actually win this one. But it is the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Cowboys in Dallas, and you know, I think what was the word you said? Fraudulent to describe the Cowboys, and that sounds about right. And for that reason, give me the Philadelphia Eagles to be able to beat them. I have a slight feeling that you're going to pick the Cowboys. We'll have to see. But it's my prediction right now. And I think that the Philadelphia Eagles can do it. They're obviously getting really hot. They aren't playing to their best. I still don't think they're playing to the best of their ability. Like the Jags game probably should have been a 30-point blowout. But it ended up being a really close game. If they can just fix up some of the little stuff, I think that they can be that dominant team, you know, or close to that dominant team that they were when they made the Super Bowl. So yeah, for that reason, give me the Eagles.
Yeah, you were actually correct. I'm actually going to pick the Cowboys here. Good guess, I guess. But they are fraudulent. I still think they have a lot of talent. I feel like these divisional games can always go either way. It being in Dallas, I see them being able to maybe pull off an upset here. They have a great team. They've just struggled to get it going. earlier in the games, they always seem to just start slow. I think this could be a game where they have a good start and are able to just build on it all game. But the next game is the Detroit Lions at the Houston Texans. Earlier in the season, I would have considered this as one of the best games of the week, but I don't think so anymore. I have the Lions fairly convincingly. Obviously, CJ Stroud's capable of just changing that, though, pulling out a win. But the Lions have looked incredible. And the Texans have been actually pretty poor recently, so I'm going to have to go to the Lions here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Without Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, the Texans have been a shell of themselves. Joe Mixon is like the only one that's been able to keep that offense together. I mean, it'll be interesting. I believe for the Lions, I believe Jahmyr Gibbs did get an ankle sprain, or even an ankle fracture. I'm not completely sure. So an ankle injury. I still think that they'll be able to pull it out though. They've just got so much depth and so much talent everywhere. And yeah, I mean, I did say that the Lions were the best team in the league, and I stand on that. I'll still stand on that hill until I'm proven wrong. I think that, yeah, they can just go into Houston and get a nice win. But moving on from that, it is the final game in what is actually kind of an interesting game. It is the LA Rams taking on the Miami Dolphins. I've actually kind of got to think about this one a little bit because it is an interesting matchup. And you know what? I think I'm going to go the Miami Dolphins. I think that they can beat the Rams. The Rams, they can pull off any divisional game they want, but that's a divisional game as we know. And the Miami Dolphins, they got their back, and they've looked better at least, especially last week. Last week they looked really nice, and I mean, no disrespect to the Rams or anything like that, but I just think that the Dolphins can do it. I don't know, it's just something about this game, just makes me want to go Dolphins. I don't think it'll be like a blowout or anything like that, but I think that they'll be able to get it done and kind of show the league, hey, we're still kind of here, And yeah, give me the Dolphins.
Kind of crazy coming off the week that the Rams had that you're picking the Dolphins, and I'm also picking the Dolphins. But I think they were really impressive against the Bills, and I think that Tua is really nice. He's 0-2 since coming back, but they've both been in really tight, close losses. I think this one could just be one that they pull it out on. So I'm going to have to go with the Dolphins in this game. Alright guys, that's the end of the NFL Nitro video. Some pretty interesting games this next week. Not the best week overall though, we've seen better. But let us know down below what you agree with, what you disagree with. And we're considering, making some weekly NBA content. Let us know down below how you guys feel about it. I don't know if you guys are big into the NBA, but we rock with it. So if you want it, just let us know. That being said, that's the end of the video. We will see you next week for the next episode of NFL Nitro. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.
Right, the ball went into frame.
That's a W.
It went right next to me.
Yeah, I was a hope. Oh god.
You wanted that to happen?
I wanted it to get involved in some way.
I see.
Moving on, we have Joe Burrow. Alright, bro. We have Joe Burrow absolutely lighting it up.
No, stop! It's my game. Because you want to do the Browns, I'm pretty sure. Remember?
Oh no! I was gonna cook too. Yeah. I was about to talk about how the AFC North is better than the AFC West. Alright, my fault.
I'll talk about it.
This is in the bloopers, I'm sure.
So, great win for the Bengals. showing why maybe the AFC North is still better, is still the best division in the AFC.
In the AFC, I could see that. Yeah.
Yep. Not in the NFL.
Yeah. The Browns prevent us from being in the NFL, best in the NFL. And the Giants, though, I thought that was out. What? For the
You're seeing things,
It's
unfortunately.
I'm telling you, that was out. This is the same. We've played this in like 3 straight games, by the way.
We have.
Did they quit? They're scared.
Yeah, they
That's
quit.
crazy. We
They
ended
scared
2 and
after they
2.
beat us like 3 straight times.
No, we won the first 2. They
Well,
won 2. Where's game 5? Damn.
For real.
Ah! No!
Bang!
Call me Donovan Mitchell. The way I be hitting it. F you, Dane. Go Cavs. I'm tempted to go Cowboys locker of the week. I don't think I will, but I'm tempted.
For what?
I actually really think
Hey,
you'll
it's up to you.
see
It's up to you.
when we
it's
talk
up to
about
you.
it. But I really think
Yeah. If they destroyed our defense, which is great for the whole year, then I don't see why they can't absolutely destroy the little old Bengals defense.
you know which defense they didn't destroy? The Cleveland Browns one.
Yeah.
If they lose
All
Alvin
his fault.
Kamara, their team.
Michael Thomas is gonna come out of retirement. Michael Thomas is gonna come out of being a little bitch, play, and then get
Whoa.
kicked off, and then never play again. He's just a bitch.
Throwing
Stop with your little
shots.
toe injury and play. How about that?
And that'll do it.
Yes, sir. That's it. We're done. Goodbye.
And that's NFL Nitro.
That's NFL Nitro. Over.